Ooh, Wasabi Gangsters totally screwed up the angle here today. Should have done that before you hit record, Chance. Silly goose. All right, so, wow. Boy, oh boy, did we get some reading done. All right, we finished Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas, book 4 in the Throne of Glass series. Now, book 3 is still my favorite by far, and a part of me thinks that's because I read Assassin's Blade between these two books. The start of this book and having the references about a certain character inside of Assassin's Blade that had such a giant impact on the main character did really I don't want to say destroyed my suspension of disbelief, but it did take away from it for sure. And it's taking me actively re-engaging it to get back into the story, and I'm starting to maybe pick up a few more contrivances that otherwise I wouldn't have, and it would have been easier to let sort of just slide by. That said, Sarah J. Maas is still a great storyteller. I really liked where this story went in particular. All of the revelations that occurred, all of the big moments that happened in this book were done really well. And I still think it's my second favorite after Heir of Fire. Funny enough, despite my gripes with how much Assassin's Blade sort of pulled me from all of it. I guess the best way I can articulate it is there's this particular character in the first two books. I sort of felt like I was led to believe that this character had like a giant positive impact on the main character's life, and was a good person. And we sort of just find out that isn't the case. And it can be explained away if you like really, really reach. If it were treated differently, if this was sort of justified behavior by the fact of like what's actually occurring, and quote unquote, I say quote unquote, but like the actual trauma that happened, if it were approached differently, I think in the narrative, I would have probably came to my suspension of disbelief would be much easier to keep in place. But that said, I mean, I'm going to have gripes generally. I understand why Sarah J. Maas is such a success. These are great stories, and it's written really well. I'm into, right now, Empire of the Storms and Tower of Dawn. I'm doing the tandem read. I am about 6 some odd chapters total, or maybe 7 in total into this. I'm doing the tandem read. I'm enjoying it so far. I only got one chapter into the actual tandem, like the swap over so far. Tonight I'll probably break a little bit more ground there. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. And I hear that this is the way to do it. I know that some people find Tower of Dawn to be kind of boring on its own, but I feel like tied in, it's going to improve my enjoyment. I hear it's totally justified. So I'm looking forward to getting that done. And getting more into the story and seeing how we're going to sort of set up with this penultimate installment being these two books, seeing how we're going to set up the next and final book, Kingdom of Ash. And it seems so far that we're, of course, being reintroduced to a major conflict, and then also shown sort of the moving parts behind the scenes and sort of how everything's kind of moving into place that was set up. And I understand that Assassin's Blade does a lot of that setup for the remainder of the series with certain characters that we meet. We're already getting prepared to meet one of those characters in this book now. But it is interesting to see it all come together. I do still wish that I read Assassin's Blade at the very end and sort of got that, oh, cool, but at the end. Yeah. Anyways, between that, other than that, I'm reading Come With Me. I'm about 3 some odd chapters into this one. Really thoroughly enjoying it. Effectively, we have Ronald Malfi. This is my second Ronald Malfi book, and it is a really interesting pitch that, guy's wife dies, and he finds something, a hotel receipt that he wasn't familiar with, and sort of things start to unfold from there. And it's even so far in the 3 or 4 chapters that I've read, it's a really interesting conversation around grief, specifically the way that the main character is handling it. And the writing is obviously great. It's Ronald Malfi, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And not much else to say about that so far. I don't want to give anything away. And then I'm about 6 or 7 chapters into Empire of the Dawn. Also really good. Still getting reintroduced to some characters here. Not much ground was made with this one this week because I did prioritize Queen of Shadows, and then starting Empire of Storms and Tower of the Dawn. And my writing sessions have actually been starting a little later this week. For no reason in particular, just starting later. And that is causing me to start reading later, which is fine. I think maybe I could probably this next week start getting myself in order there a little bit earlier in the night and get some more reading in during the day. on my walks, even with the audiobook for Empire of the Dawn, which I do thoroughly enjoy the narration of it. But yeah, that is my reading update, guys. And I'm going to discuss now my books, my writing. Silly me. Okay, actually, artwork really quick. On my Patreon, I have my Runeborn members. I posted both Ill is the Fate briefs for the launch editions. I posted the final cover, not including typography, that was done by Shimhack over for my Runeborn members. That will be probably posted on my Instagram either next week or the week after. I'm debating waiting for the actual typography and dust jacket design to be done before posting anything, but we'll see. And then the Ill is the Fate cover should be done by tonight. Which is just crazy. I mean, just what a fantastic job by Shimhack. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm blown away. I'm looking at these editions, and I think I'm going to go with this sort of subterranean press feel of a very minimalistic spine and minimalistic back cover copy for the dust jacket, because I feel like that will do the art the right justice. And that said, I am also commissioning 2 other pieces from another artist with a similar concept. It will likely be the same concept for another thing in the works, is all I'll say. I won't give that up right now. But with the audiobook release, let's just say that there's a lot that I'm approaching it as if it were a traditional release, because it is a traditional release in the market. And so I'm really trying to treat it that way myself, as if I'm a publisher, because I'm publishing these books. And so I want to do it right. I want to make sure that it's done right and done well. And I was very fortunate to get an audiobook deal with Tantor, and they took a chance with me. We have Simon Vance narrating, and so I'm very excited, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the series justice. And so the art direction for the entire series and as a standard version is going to shift in the future, is all I'm going to say. But we are keeping the same concepts as those Shimhack pieces that you guys will see here in the future, in the near future, and that will lead us into sort of this next generation of Mercy. As we finish up the series with this, hopefully with this 3rd volume, assuming that I keep it as 1 volume instead of splitting it at the end to 2 volumes like I was initially planning, so on and so forth. If you see my other update videos, you know what I'm saying. Effectively, the 3rd volume can sum up the story in our duology, which books 1 and 2 are a single arc, and book 3 will be its own arc. So yeah, that is all very exciting. The artwork is very exciting. I'm 78,000 words into the 3rd volume. I will likely be 79 or 80,000 before my newsletter goes out tonight. If you are not subscribed to the newsletter, go over to chancedillonauthor.com. I do a weekly newsletter. I do it effectively like reflections on the week generally. Life stuff. Sometimes I throw poetry in there like I did last week. Also, I give you an exact word count of where we are with the current work in progress, just to sort of keep accountability there, and also take some reflections on my writing for the week and how the experience felt sitting down in the chair and actually doing the work. And yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. I think the reflection on it is so valuable for me as a reader, and as a writer, and I'm hoping other writers out there are getting some benefit from it. Also, just as my readers, I really hope you guys who have been here with me from the beginning on this journey with me are following along, because it does mean the world. And it's sort of like I hope it's showing gratitude toward you and sharing this stuff with you and being transparent, because I do feel so grateful for everybody that's picked up a copy, that's liked one of my videos, or shared something on Instagram. It does mean the world. It really does. There are some bigger things in the works here on the market. The Broken Binding launch editions are coming. I am just we're taking our time with the artwork. Unfortunately, there was just like some things in the plans that I had, and some opportunities came up, and it was silly for me not to take it. So here we are, and we are at the tail end of this. We are getting the typography put together onto the covers, and hopefully we will be able to have the offering of the launch edition bundles to you by July. That is the goal. By early July would be my goal in terms of getting that all squared away, and it's possible. It is doable. All while navigating this audiobook release, and navigating sort of where we're going with the series as a whole, and writing the 3rd volume. So I am grateful for your guys' patience, as well as I'm really looking forward to having all of this kind of culminate and converge, in a Dillon deluge kind of way here over the summer and into the fall, with the audiobook releases of both books, and the spring intention being releasing the 3rd book in the spring. That is subject to I'm going to try to make sure I do well by the story and do the most service possibly possible, which might mean a small delay, just depending on editing and how long that takes. If things take longer than expected because the word count's going to be a little higher, then we may have a slight pushback. But again, I'm just saying this now so I can hold myself accountable to it in the future. I'm intent on reaching my goal of getting the third volume out to you all by spring. If splitting the volumes is what I end up doing, that is likely going to be totally fine, and there will be no issues with that. If I keep it as a single third volume and we have 70 some odd chapters to go through, it's possible that it gets pushed back a season. Not much, maybe hopefully a month or two, like not much from when I initially had planned, which you guys don't know, but I did say spring 2027. So it can still fall in spring, all things considered. But, this is just more for myself and accountability than it is for anything. But I do want to keep you guys in the loop because I think it's important to be transparent and sort of for you guys to see where my head's at during this process. We're almost a third of the way through the projected word count based on the third volume blowing up to 73 chapters in the final outline. So, all that said, I'm really, really looking forward to getting this story finished and written for you guys to experience. And there's some stuff with the short story Maxwell and I are working on as well. I'm trying to get that into the launch editions, so that will require some work by me to go in and edit. And I'm just so stoked. Like it does feel for me, if I'm just going to be completely honest, I'm sort of not in a lull, but it is really, like, realistically, like, you have all these high building, like, momentum moments that force multiplies and things start happening and people start reading the books and it's great and the reviews are coming and I'm so grateful for that. But there are definitely moments, it's highs and lows. That's what this being a writer is, being an author is. It's a roller coaster a lot. And so right now we're sort of, it's peaks and valleys. You gotta know how to navigate those things, and you sort of learn as you go through life, generally how to navigate those parts of life. Also, this is a new experience for me overall, having books out in the world and also writing the third book in a series. And so it's very interesting for me to navigate that while also trying to navigate the business side. Social media is a whole other concept. I like engaging with fans and other just readers generally, not even people who read my books, but people who read the same genre, people who read generally. I enjoy engaging with people in this field. And so it's very hard when that sort of, I don't say taken away from me, but I have to navigate my bandwidth and like still have respect for my time. And putting the phone down lately has been like a big thing for me. And I'm noticing an improvement in just overall how I feel, generally speaking, mentally. And so that's obviously been a good call on me. Also, that does take away from some of my ability to communicate with readers. I try my best, and I will keep doing my best to make sure that I can just chat with you guys and engage, and I think it's fun. It's like a really fun part of it, and so that's also important for me to remember. Is it's a fun part of it and the experience. But that's it, guys. I know I just sort of went on a ramble there. I will keep my 3-minute video for the other socials 3 minutes and brief, hopefully more concise after getting all my word vomit out here with you. I will see you next Thursday for my weekly writing update that I do every week. You can go over to the Book Street Boys Discord. I'm over on there. Usually, I'll mess around in the general chat. We have a channel for Chance Dillon. There's other channels as well, music, books, all of it. There's like group reads that go on all the time. Super active, actually. Very fun to chat with people in there. And yeah, it's just generally like probably the easiest, most concise place for me to be able to communicate with people. Just because it's a little easier access for me, and I don't brick my phone out of it when during the day. So whereas I do that for Instagram and YouTube just to keep myself off my phone a good bit. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you guys so much. Really grateful, really excited for the stuff that's coming here in the next couple weeks and then also a few months. A lot. All right, I'm going to close it out. Thanks, guys.